Bring in Democratic strategist Richard Goodstein right now. Richard, good to see you. Good morning.
Great to be here.
Big
Thanks for
night
having
last
me.
night, big night tonight. What's your take on history being made last night?
So I think we should look at the speech. Bill Clinton's speech obviously was the star of the night. Tone versus content in contrast to kind of his counterparts in Cleveland. Tone, his was kind of conversational. He was trying to tell a story. It was obviously from the heart. I think the same could be said about Michelle Obama. You know, in contrast to Melania Trump, who obviously used Michelle Obama's words, and Donald Trump, who looked into that teleprompter, in my humble opinion, looked like he was reading, like a sixth grader reading what somebody else wrote at the top of his lungs. I don't know that that was reassuring, and I don't think Bill Clinton was doing anything other than trying to kind of cast his wife in the light that he wants, which is the cartoon version of her versus the real version of her, somebody who has delivered change for the disabled, people that Donald Trump mocks, and for education, for health care, and so forth. As he said, before she was 30, she's done more than people who spent a lifetime in public policy.
How do you make her out to be a change maker when she's already been very clear that she's going to continue everything that's in place already that President Obama has put in place?
Yeah. So if you look at her website, if you look at what she's been saying about, let's say, take education and health care, for example.
About everything, actually. She gets down into the weeds
she
in terms
does.
of
And
policy.
that may be a problem, right? Taking you right. People say she doesn't have kind of the bumper sticker version. And I guess that's something she'll have to address tomorrow night. But again, if you look at health care, she wants to expand. Trump wants to deny people 20 million who are now.
But my question was, how does that represent change?
Well, it's a change for the better for people who are now not having health care, who don't have access to education, who are piling up these huge debts. That's an enormous change in the lives of people who are now getting out of college and struggling for decades to get out from under debt. That's big change.
Yeah, I'm biting my tongue because I'm trying to be as fair and balanced. I'm on your home court, so I'm really trying to be fair and balanced. But his speech was so good that he's plus 18 with the independents right now. So how do you respond to that? I don't.
Talking about Trump.
Yeah, I don't think he sounded like a sixth grader. I mean, he gave a commanding performance. If he were being self-critical, he'd say he talked too long because he had so much applause, Richard,
right.
That it carried over into an hour and 15 minutes.
Again, I don't think red-faced screaming for 75 minutes, backing out the applause time, is something that's kind of reassuring to the swing voter. I understand
that the independents. What do you say about that?
That's a point in time. Let's talk about 10 days from now how the polls look.
That's a direct response to his speech, though.
Well, as I said, that always happens. There's this little bump. Again, we've had several polls. A couple show him getting a 4-point bump or 6. Several had him down 1 or 2 or tied. So let's talk again. I think every...
You're dodging the independent thing. Let's talk about the independents. Plus 18 on the independents after that speech.
And I'm saying...
You're tiny bit worried about that?
No, not in the least. I'm saying let's talk 10 days from now, after whatever bump Hillary gets settles out. I think we'll kind of have some sense as to where people are.
Well, I'll look at both these conventions, and I don't think that it's them and then this week. I don't think that you judge the speakers against each other. You judge each candidate individually. The speakers last week would influence someone's opinion of Donald Trump and Mike Pence. The speakers this week potentially could influence the way people feel about Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine. Hillary Clinton's untrustworthy numbers are extremely high, the highest that they've ever been in the CNN polls, 68%. People have an unfavorable rating for her, the highest it's been since she's been on the national stage. Did Bill Clinton, who is the best advocate for her, did he change things last night? And I think that's still a question mark.
Right, and we'll see again. I mean, Anthony's focusing on the polls. We'll see after the convention bounces settle out. My answer to that, though, is, again, I think the way he framed it between the cartoon version, which is, again, what we heard in Cleveland, versus the reality of her record is something that, and look, this untrustworthy number, there's a million numbers in the polls about how Hillary is held in very high regard, how she's ready on day one, how she's more knowledgeable,
but
cares about more people. But she cares about people like
Can I pay him a compliment, though? I got to pay a huge compliment. I think it's absolutely fantastic what you guys have done with the mainstream media, because here they are colluding together at the DNC to make her #1 uber alles. Doesn't matter. They charge cronyism and fascism to the Republicans, but they're manipulating the system.
Yeah.
And then no one wants to talk about it. I think you guys have done a phenomenal job with that.
People do not like the manipulation of the media in particular. Now, the Democrats
I would like to learn how you guys did that, because I think it's unbelievable.
And